Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now we are going to rehouse a very pretty Avicularia. Now these are something I actually, going forward into our new room, these are a group of spiders that I want to do more with. I do like the Avics. There's something very special about them. So we're going to look at trying to keep them in a slightly different way. Keeping them quite humid as well, but in a real humid way. Whereas we tend to keep our tanks relatively humid, I want to keep them a higher humidity and see where this takes us and see what happens with them and whether they appreciate that anymore. So we are going to do the Avic variegata, which is the giant Amazon pink toe, and they really are a monster of a pink toe. Now this one's probably only around about half grown, so she's got a little way to go, but they do get excessively big, so it's going to be an interesting one. We do have a young male as well, so hopefully, all being well, we might just get to breed them later on in the year. So here we got our normal mix that we're using at the moment. This works out quite well. Now the Avics are a bit of a funny one in terms of what we can do with their enclosures. Let me get my hot glue gun on, because I just remembered I didn't put that on. So we can, they're a bit of a difficult one in terms of what we can do with them with decor, how we decorate their enclosures. And this is because of, obviously, with their webbing. So what we're going to try going forward is we're going to put them in larger enclosures, maybe go with the EXO 45s, the 30 by 30 by 45s, and we can plant them out, give them a bit more room, and hopefully we get to see a bit more about the webbing that they create with making their homes, because you'll find this is perfectly adequate size to keep one in, but we never get to see the true structure of that webbing, because they literally web the whole thing up, so we never really get to see what it entirely looks like, you know, which I always think is a bit of a shame. So I think it might be nice to see if we can't do something where we get to see a little bit more. I'm just playing around here now, just trying to get a little bit of extra in this, because what we're going to do, we say there's not a lot of point in doing too much, because they will just web up just about everything. So we're not going to worry about plants in this one, but we can still use our moss. And our moss will help keep some humidity in here as well, help lock in some of that. So that's all we're going to do. We're not going to go overboard with this. Put that in there, and then we're going to have some nice branches.
That's a nice likey one.
I'm trying to figure out now what we're going to, how we can put these in. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this. My trusty saw. So we're going to try and give it plenty of places in which to maneuver about. I think I can probably, oh look at that. This will just give it somewhere nice to climb about. And I'm wondering whether we put our water bowl.
Yeah.
Well, If we go too high, you see, she's going to live behind here. She will go behind here. So I want to try and figure out a spot that we can put it on where it doesn't get entirely webbed over. It's like I say, they do like to web an awful lot.
Yeah, there.
I think about there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let's just hope this is dry enough to be able to withstand the heat. So what we'll do, we will let our glue gun get a little bit hotter, get that nice and hot, and then we'll try and put that on there. Now these guys come from Brazil, and as you probably gathered now by the way we're talking, they do like a humid environment, and they're kept pretty much the same as all of the other Avics. Now we know that with the Avics they tend to get a little bit of bad press in terms of how, you know, the delicacy of them, and a lot of the time we hear arguments about cross ventilation and things like this with Avics. Now, as we've shown in the past, cross ventilation isn't that important. The most important thing is your control of water. So provided you don't soak them, having poor ventilation doesn't make that much difference. But if you soak them with poor ventilation, then they end up stagnant, and then that does not do them any good at all. So with these, we have mesh tops on these, so they're very, very well ventilated. Your exos are an absolutely perfect enclosure for your Avics, because they allow for that, which gives you, especially if you're a beginner, it gives you more freedom to make mistakes with your watering. And this is what it really comes down to, is making mistakes. So
you go clay balls with your Avics? Yes,
we can go clay balls in the bottom. And when we go up to doing our other enclosures, we will be using more in the way of clay balls with them, because we will be going more into plants. And then that way we can use the bottom layer as a reservoir. But to do that, you must have good ventilation. It's very important that you have good ventilation. So you have to, basically, you have to work out how just get that on there. I am going to concentrate on this, guys, because last time it didn't work out well. And we're going to just get that watered now. Now water in this obviously helps the glue go off, which is the most important thing, because we are going to be putting our spider in here very quickly. So we need to make sure that that is all good. So there you are, that is our enclosure there. I'm going to get this out of the way, and we are going to have a look. So we're going to take a label off of our box. Now we're slowly but surely moving many of our spiders that were in the cereal boxes. We're moving them out and putting them in back into glass enclosures where we have more control. And as you guys know, we do like to maintain as much control as we possibly can. Now this is a spider to literally adore. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Isn't that just absolutely beautiful? And you can see that bright red abdomen. Very, very, very pretty. I'll bring it around that way.
That's better.
So these guys have got them tiny yellow anklets that you can see on each joint of the leg. The pink toes, which is where they get their name from. And these guys are very, very hairy. They almost look like stardust. The Avicularia are a wonderful genus of spider. They really are a fabulous spider. But as you can see, they make these web hammocks. And this is something we want to try and see if we can't see a little bit more of. Isn't she lovely? Should we get her out?
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of them ones. Generally speaking, Avics are relatively easy going. So we're going to... we're going to come round here so camera lady can get to see.
Thank you.
That's the other thing as well. Once we get into our other room, our lighting will be so much better. Put that on there, see if that works. Now then, we can handle these, but we choose not to. What we're going to do is we're going to see if we can't get her to go down there. I want her to go up the branch if we can. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that just wonderful?
You can really see her hairy fluffiness now.
Yeah, she is super, super fluffy. The giant Amazon pink toe. Look at those pink toes. They are fabulous, aren't they? So I'm sure she will be much happier in here. Now at this size, she should be mature enough now to be able to breed. One more molt would be nice. I'll say we have got a couple of males actually. So hopefully we can get something done with these. That'll be very, very cool. Now, as we were saying, they do like a high humidity and they also like quite a high temperature as well. So if we can get these up at sort of like 80 or so, they will be very, very good. You'll see these tiny little flies around. We dropped a fruit fly pot and we've got little buggers everywhere. Horrible little things.
You did, I didn't.
Well, yeah. So we see if we can get her to come up this branch. Let's see if we can get her to move. Come up the branch. There we go. Go on, you can do it. There we go. Look at that.
Don't let her turn.
It's always so nice to see them on the move.
Oh, trying to get you a picky.
We'll try and get a picture. It's always one of those things. You get an opportunity, don't miss it. If we can get to go onto the bark, there we go. Look at that. Ah, beautiful. Right, that's our pictures done. Doesn't she look wonderful? Now these get bigger than the Braun Shawnee, so I think these are actually the largest of the Avics, or getting on for that, I'm sure. They really are a colossal spider when fully grown. Quite heavy set as well.
Let's have fun how that looks. Is that?
They come from Brazil. Yeah, it looks like she's done a little bit of kicking there. These guys do kick hairs, but normally from the front legs. They don't tend to flick from the abdomens. She's also, I would imagine, coming into a molt now. She don't look like she's far off of it. So she looks a little bit scrappy, but she ain't too bad. Look at that. She's just like one big hairy beast. So yes, we like a high temperature, high humidity, and these guys will do really, really well. The other nice thing about them is you can plant their enclosures out. You can have a real nice looking exhibit rather than just a pot or a tub. So they really lend themselves to a lot of great things in the way that we keep them and how we display them. And this is something that we want to try and do a little bit more of when we move over. But for now, she is going to be absolutely perfect in there. Oh, she looks absolutely wonderful. I'm very pleased with that. Really pleased. So then, in terms of keeping, these guys are not as difficult as you would first think. And as I said earlier on, there is a lot of conflicting views and information about them. Try not to get too tied up in the humidity side of it, because although they like a high humidity, it's actually often easier to accomplish than you first think. Often or not, when you think of spiders being 70–80% humidity, you look in their enclosure and it'll look dry. That doesn't mean it isn't of a high humidity. So really, you know, you need to check it out. And as I said earlier on, the majority of the people that have problems with these guys is because they keep them too wet. They don't allow them to dry out. They keep them too wet. And it's not a good thing for any of the Avics. You know, they enjoy humidity, but they don't like being kept wet. So you've got to be very on the ball with that, but don't get too tied down to it as well. Give them somewhere to hide, somewhere nice and quiet. They like the backboard on the back because that gives them security, gives them somewhere dark. They will web all of that up and just disappear. But these guys will often be out in the daytime. If you feed them correctly, you will see them out on the hunt looking for food. So that's how you want to try and get yours to that point where you're seeing it coming out looking for food. That might just be that it's hanging its legs out the front. It might be a super chilled spider and come all the way out. We've got them that just sit out all the time. So, you know, they're all individuals and you just need to make sure you try and cater for your one. Right then. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and we're hopefully going to see many more of the Avics on the channel in the coming year. I really do want to get right into these. All right. So don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you all soon, guys.